So today we're going to continue using inscribed angles and polygons. Our first step is to determine what kind of angle x is. Angle x is not a central angle. It is an inscribed angle. And its projection goes from this part of the circle all the way to this one, which happens to be a semicircle. How many degrees in a semicircle? 180. Which means that the relationship between 180 and angle x can be determined by dividing by 2, which means angle x has to be 90 degrees. Using that, I can find out y. To find out angle y, I have to determine what kind of shape is this one. It is an inscribed triangle. How many degrees in a triangle? Also 180. So we are going to add up our 90 plus our 40 degrees plus our mysterious y and equate it to 180. 180 degrees because it is a triangle, not because of the semicircle part. Then you're going to combine like terms. You can combine 90 and 40 to get 130. And then with the 130, we will subtract it on both sides. And we will get that y equals 50. And that is how you do number 31. Number 32 is kind of like the celebrity spotlights. We have one spotlight here. And the spotlight is projecting from here to here. The other spotlight comes from here, and it is projecting at the same arc. If they have the same arc, that means that these two angles should be congruent. It is one of the theorems of circles. So I can safely say that 20 degrees and y degrees should be congruent to each other, which means that 20 does actually equal y. And that's how you solve the first part. The second part is a little more complicated. To find out x, you have to see, is it a central angle or inscribed angle? You can see that since the x is not in the center of the circle, it's inscribed. It still has a relationship with 140. The relationship is not equal to each other. X actually equals whatever half of 140 is. Just like in the previous problem, we divided by 2. That's the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. And we get that the answer is 70 degrees. This one is also kind of the same idea as number 32. But for this one, you're going to have to carefully see where you should start. Where I would start would be right here. This inscribed angle has that arc. And this inscribed angle has the same arc, which means I can say that this angle matches this angle, which means I can say that x plus 20 is congruent to or equal to 2x minus 5. So x plus 20 equals 2x minus 5. First step, subtract x on both sides. You get positive 20 equals x minus 5. Next step, add 5 on both sides. you get 25 equals x. And that's how you would solve for x. To solve for y is a different problem. So to solve for y, we're going to take a different approach, and we're going to see it using inscribed angles. So notice that this is the angle in question, the one that says y plus 27, and it is related to this arc that says 4y plus 10. In order to do this problem, I'm going to take this angle and I'm going to multiply it by 2 in order to get that arc. So I'm going to say 2 times y plus 27. So 2 times the inscribed angle equals the arc, which is 4y plus 10. Because that is the relationship. So first step, distribute. 2 times y, 2y. 2 times 27 is 54. And then you leave the other side the way it is. Let's bring the y's to the right side by subtracting 2y. You get positive 54 equals 2y plus 10. Then we can subtract 10 on both sides. We get 44 equals 2y. Then we divide both sides by 2, and we get the answer of 22. And now on to number 34. Number 34 and 35 both have quadrilaterals. There is a special relationship between these two angles in a quadrilateral. They both add up to 180. And the same relationship can be said about these two. Opposite angles in an inscribed quadrilateral always add up to 180. So the first equation we can do is the red one. We're going to do y plus 95 should equate to 180. We're going to subtract 95 on both sides. We will get the answer for y, which happens to be 85. Then for the purple, we're going to do x plus 75 equals 180. Subtract 75 on both sides, and we will get 105. So 34 was kind of simple, but 35 we have a binomial, so things get a little more tricky. First step is to recognize that opposite angles in an inscribed quadrilateral always add up to 180. And that goes for the relationship between the other two opposite angles. They also add up to 180. So first, let's deal with 117 plus 9x equals 180. First step, we're going to subtract 117 on both sides. When we do that, we will get 63. We will divide both sides by 9, and we will get 7. Now to do the next one. So this relationship here between the 83 and the binomial, I will have to write 83 plus 7y minus 1 equals 180. I'm going to have to combine like terms, 83 and negative 1. Just combining like terms, I'm going to get 82. I'm going to subtract 82 on both sides. When I subtract 82 on both sides, I'm going to get, and then when I take the 7 and divide both sides, I will get the number 14. And that's how you do 34 and 35.